Good evening. My name is Hong Nguyen, and I'm a rising senior majoring in psychology and minoring in business at Washington and Jefferson College. I am the founding member of the Diversity Programming Board at my institution and a NASPA undergraduate fellow. Will Deborah Owens please join me at the podium? Deborah Owens has more than 20 years of experience in the financial services industry and is currently the CEO of Owens Media Group, a company which utilizes financial practices to educate women on how to spend, save, and invest to build personal financial wellness. Owens Media also produces Wealthy Radio, a 1-hour personal finance talk show that airs weekly on NPR affiliate WEAA-FM in Baltimore, Maryland, and Wealthy Minutes, a national syndicated broadcast that offers brief financial tips. Owens has also authored 3 books, including A Purse of Your Own, published by Simon and Schuster. Conjointly with her book, Owens launched A Purse of Your Own campaign, an online community to financially empower 1 million women. Since the online community launched, more than 1,000 women have signed up to start purse groups of 5 to 10 like-minded women committed to supporting and holding each other accountable on their path to financial security. She is an ambassador for the College Savings Plan of Maryland and an alumna of the Greater Baltimore Leadership Committee. Deborah Owens, I admire your work, your dedication, and your role in the world as a role model and an advocate for empowerment. It is with appreciation and admiration that the National Conference for College Women Student Leaders, organizers, and attendees, including myself, honor and recognize you this evening as the 2013 Women of Distinction.
Well, good evening, ladies. You know, I've got to say, I feel like I'm home. I have a son who is an alumna of University of Maryland, and my daughter is a rising senior as well. So I just want to thank you, Hung, for that wonderful introduction. And really, tonight it's an honor to be in front of, to see the beautiful faces and look out and know that you can all change the world. And you know, I'm going to change my remarks tonight because I think it's important for you to understand that you really can change the world. And so I want to start with a story. And the story, she was a young woman. She grew up in Pineapple, Alabama in the 1940s. She worked in the cotton fields, and it was back-breaking work. And she would sit in those fields, and she would look out, and she would dream of the day that she would move far, far away from there. And as chance would have it, she would venture into the big city, Camden, Alabama, and she would sit at the soda counter, and a young man would come in, and he'd be carrying a briefcase. And they would meet often in the months to come, and they would talk about their dreams, and he promised her that they would see the world. And about 3 months before she was to graduate from high school, she married that handsome young man, and he kept his promise. He entered the Navy, and their first child was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. Their next child was born in Washington, D.C., and then they would settle in Detroit, Michigan. And they would live a wonderful middle-class existence. And as their incomes rose, the houses got larger. And then they decided to retire, and they'd always dreamed of going back to that idyllic place in Honolulu, Hawaii, where their child was born. And they would retire, and shortly after that, after 33 years of marriage, that young woman from Pineapple, Alabama, would find herself separated from her husband and living in one of the most expensive places in the world. You know, I was 18 years old at the time, and that woman was my mother. And I can remember it like yesterday, and I remember saying to myself that I would always have a purse of my own. And you know, I never really realized why I went on to a career in financial services, but as I wrote my first book, I began to understand why economic empowerment for women was so important. And so about a few years ago, I returned to grad school, and I was sitting in a class, and the professor had given some resources out and his favorite quotes, and one of those aphorisms kind of jumped off the page at me, and this is all it said. It said that wealth was created by adding value. And that one quote became the genesis of the framework for my book, A Purse of Your Own. And in that book, I share the 7 wealthy habits of successful women. And as you can see, A Purse of Your Own, you now see where the title of that book came from. Because one of the things I began to understand was that my mother's situation or experience was the rule and not the exception. 9 out of 10 women will be responsible for their own finances. You will either never marry, you will either marry or divorce or separate like my parents, or your husband will predecease you. And so I began a mission to financially empower 1 million women. So when I wrote the book, A Purse of Your Own, in the last chapter of the book, one of the things that I wanted to encourage women to do was start purse groups. And that's where 5 to 10 women, they get together, they read one chapter of the book, and they apply it to their own personal finances. And what I would say to you today is the reason that I am standing in front of you is because one of those groups, which was started at my church, and one of those young women in that room, Christine Soto, is in that purse group. And so what I want to say to all of you, just a few words of wisdom that come out of the book, A Purse of Your Own, those 7 wealthy habits. The first, one of the things that successful women, financially successful women do is they have the habit of adding value. That means that it's not about giving, it's about getting. It's not about getting, it's about giving. And when you add value to others, and that's why that aphorism jumped out of that page in that graduate class, a leadership class. The second habit is a wealthy vision. All of you've been gifted. You come here, you have some unique gifts and talents. And that's what you serve and give to others, and the world opens up to you. The next, a wealthy appetite, and that's the habit of lifelong learning. You heard Donna Shalala say it. You have to continue to hone your skills so that you can serve with a greater capacity. And I'm going to end up with this one habit, and to me, it's probably the most important habit of all, and something that I want you to carry away with you today. And that's what I call the wealthy mindset, and that's the habit of viewing problems as opportunities, because that's what they are. I'll leave you with this, and that is that growth often comes disguised as adversity, when in fact, it is a gift that's being given to you so that you can grow. So I want to thank Han for that wonderful introduction, and thank all of you for having me here this evening and for this wonderful award. Thank you very much.